I know 3 minutes is not a long time to get to know me. It took my husband over 6 months to take me home and meet his mom, and then after a year, he put a ring on it. So, I think a year is about that mark. But I am your state senator, representing Senate District 4, 13 counties, including the eastern sides of Placer, mostly in District 5. I go all the way down to Inyo County in the eastern back. I call Jackson home in Amador County, and as well as Merced in the Central Valley. We have one of the largest Senate districts in California. Now, 6 months ago, I was a Democrat. Can we say that in the house of the Lord? I am so sorry. Okay. So I'm going to focus on my last 6 months, because in 3 minutes, I think we can kind of wrap it up there. So I was the only person sitting elected in 80 years to leave the Democratic Party and re-register as a Republican. Yes. Now, that has not come without pain. Absolutely. It is unheard of to leave a cult that has so much power in California and so much money. When you look them in the face and you say, I will not stand for your ideology, and I will not uphold the values that you have that are hurting Californians, they take note. Just today, the California Democratic Party spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, to send a hit piece mailer to Republicans in our district. And I'm not even up for re-election until 2026. They have made a pledge to spend $5 million to attack Republicans across California. Why? Because we took the White House. Because we took 2 Senate seats here in California and 3 Assembly seats. Because 9 counties in California went from blue to red. Because God willing, Californians are waking up. And I am not alone. So what I'm here to do is to introduce myself to you. I'm here as a state senator, but I want to earn the ability to be your Republican state senator. Now, our bylaws are very specific. They say as a sitting member of elected office that we're allowed to have ex officio representation here on the board. Now, I have with me my staff, my chief of staff, Vanessa Bravo in the back, who's here in Roseville, and I also have my Capitol Director, Legislative Director, Sherry West, who has been a superstar in the Capitol for 26 years for Republican senators and assembly members. So, applause for Sherry. I also have Taylor with me, who is the president of Young Republicans here in Sacramento. So I'm going to tell you, yes. So I've been attacked. My marriage has been attacked. My family has been attacked. Lawsuits galore. My office has been vandalized, even urinated on. It has not been a soft and cozy ride. But I pray on this every day, and I know God would not have helped me survive 2 bouts of cancer. He would not have pushed me through as a single parent raising 3 kids, 2 with special needs. And he would not have put me here in front of you today after being a foster child that was recruited for drugs, prostitution, and gangs before I had the chance to go to college. And it was college that gave me that opportunity to stand here in front of you as a 50-year-old Californian with lots of experience in my boots, a more mature heart, a more mature mind, to know that the Democrats are poisoning California. And I am the #1 target, and I'm the most dangerous elected official to them. Why? Because I stood up and I said no. And they know that my message is going to go across California, across the U.S., and I am going to build this party. And God willing, before I die, before he puts me in the grave, we will turn this state red. And that is my promise to you. Thank you. So I know you have questions. Like I said, 3 minutes is not a lot of time to know me.
Can you turn my mic up a little bit more? Can you guys hear me? I feel like it's really low. James.
Thank you. I've called it a cult for a long time. So I congratulate you for waking up. So my question is this. You've left the Democratic Party, which is great. What can you talk about some of the Republican values that are, how do you say it, that you're attracted to or that you're committed
Right.
to
Who am
by
I?
joining us?
Right, who am I? So my values have not changed. What happened is I prayed on it and I came home. I was able to, this was the first time I ran for office, by the way, And the reason I ran for office is I wanted to beat the other Democrat. Because the other Democrat was a far left liberal, wanted to unionize the Central Valley and all of the rural areas, and frankly told me that I wouldn't win if I ran against him. That he pulled out some of his tactics, bully tactics, you know how the playbook goes. So my goal was to run against him and to beat him and to go to a Dem on Republican race, knowing that I live in a very deep Republican district. Well, we made a mistake in 2022 in my district. We had 6 Republicans running for 1 spot. So what that did, and again, I'm an educator, so I did the math, and I knew that we were going to shoot ourselves in the foot. By having that many Republicans on a ticket, we crossed each other out, and that propelled me forward. Now, I've always voted as a moderate right. You can check my voting record. I have voted against policies that all the Democrats voted for, and I was the lone wolf voting against. I have voted on the on the right side of the aisle more often than not when it comes to transgender issues, when it comes to reproductive health, when it comes to bond measures and tax dollars. I remember the messages that I would get when I would go out to my community and they'd say, wait, you believe in smaller government? You believe in local control? You believe in family values? Why are you a Democrat? Yeah, so it took me a while to get here, and it's a process, right? But through God and through my family, and now through my community, who I've had the opportunity to serve for over 2 years, I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. So thank you. Thank you.
Next person, Mike.
If it pleases the body, can I have a few minutes to go through the history of this real quick?
Yes.
All right.
Any objections?
No. All right.
Seeing none?
Give
Okay.
him the mic. Yeah.
Yes, Mike.
All right. 2022, yes, we had 6 candidates. Those 6 candidates split 60% of the vote, almost 60%. The 2 Democrat candidates, her and one other, split almost 40%. This is a very Republican district. At the time, I joked with El Dorado County people that she was going to switch over to Republican at year 3. I was a year or 2 late on that because you cannot re-win in that district as a Democrat. This is a political move. Now, she just said her values have not changed. I've been at the Capitol, I've watched these votes. She has voted as a far-left Democrat for 2 years up until she switched recently. A bill to put tampons in boys' restrooms, said it's common sense. She has, quote, recognized that we have progressed and evolved as a human species and we have choice in identity. With the evolution of culture in our society, this is one of the bills that would help us evolve in our thinking and reduce some of the stigma as well. This is tampons in boys' restrooms. Abortion, 8 or 9 months ago, and I'm not talking about ancient history, this is, last year. 8 or 9 months ago, I spoke out at a hearing because they were trying to allow access for abortion doctors from Arizona to come into California without licenses. I spoke out. State Senator Alvarado Gil voted for the bill. That gives abortion doctors from Arizona access to abortions in California without a license. There's plenty of these. Go back through the record and look. Right before the switch, she put a very inspirational statement about nominee Kamala Harris. This was after the Democrat Party nominated Kamala Harris. Said, with the endorsement of VP Harris, the Democrat Party will need to organize a fierce strategy to win in November. It's time for bare knuckles to the mat. Time is a luxury the country does not have. The American people need leadership now. The world is watching. She did pull back that statement, but never came around to endorsing Trump and said she's not going to support him. Saw a video of that. Plenty of bills like that. If these values have not changed, these are the values that she had. She switched parties hours after another Republican threw his hat in the ring. A Republican that came and spoke to us. She did it during a time of ugly litigation. I'm not even going to talk about that. Bill Saley, who has done a great job at the Capitol, has called her a fake Republican and has called her out multiple times. Keep recording, that's fine. She's playing nice with the county parties. even rumors of heavy donations to the parties right now. She's ineligible to have delegates for the California GOP because she has not been registered Republican long enough. She's not one of us. Okay, I mean, this is pretty clearly a political move. That's the history of the whole thing. I guess my question is, if your values have not changed, why would you have voted along those Democrat lines for that long? We wouldn't, I mean, we're talking about somebody that voted with Scott Wiener, with all the people that we are working against. She voted there. So if the family values and everything are there, why vote for these type of things?
So, nice to meet you. We haven't met before. My name's Marie. Respectfully so, you're incorrect in those votes. So let's be clear, and I'll ask my staff to look up my votes right now because it's public. When I voted for Trump, I voted for Trump as a Californian that has seen our state take a different direction. Now, was it popular for me to leave the Democratic Party? No, it wasn't. The exact date that I left the party was during the GOP Republican convention. After listening to the speeches that spoke to me, that spoke to California, and I made a phone call to my contact in leadership on the floor. She was on the floor of the GOP convention, and I said, I'm ready to come home. And she said, we welcome you. So let's just be clear, because I don't question God's timing, but that is when it happened.
Which votes am I wrong on?
That is when it happened.
You said I'm wrong
Okay.
on the votes. Which votes?
We're looking it up right now.
Okay.
We're looking it up
I
right
was
now.
sitting in the room, so I saw it.
So, have I voted with Scott Wiener? Absolutely not. Scott Wiener has attacked me over and over and over again on social media, and you would see that if we were in alliance, he would have said something nice about me. Our votes are public, right? So, I probably took a couple votes that were not good votes, and I'll own them. Do I remember voting for tampons in the bathrooms? I don't believe I voted that way. We'll double check. We'll double check because
Mike,
we'll double check. We'll double check. So,
let her speak.
so I take thousands and thousands of votes, and us building bills is just a portion of what we do. So I know that I was the only Democrat that went after public safety and successfully solved a problem in California. And I did this with the Placer County DA, okay? I know that I've prevented 5 sexually violent predators from landing in my community. I know that I've done that. No Democrat has ever done that. I know that I took the problem of rape in our state. There was a loophole in Prop 57, and when I ran, I said I was going to run to repeal Prop 57. And I have been the only Republican to pass legislation to close the loophole that if you drug somebody before you rape them, you will get a felony strike. That was not on the books before I started, and I did that as a Republican woman. So let's be clear where my values are, because I can take punches all day long. But let's be real, okay? Let's be real. Because I have been the toughest on public safety. I have taken votes even more conservative than some of the Republicans in my House and in the Assembly. And for that, I won't apologize for the votes that I've taken that were against the Democratic Party, because they were for Californians. And frankly, I have never received $1 from the Democratic Party. I have never given them $1 in my whole life. I have not received their endorsement. And if I have invested over $100,000 in the past 6 months of my money to help elect Republicans in California, where God bless me, because we need more. So criticize me if I have invested in California with such ardent fever to win. But this is not about a re-election, because I'll have a job. I came into this after 6 years of building charter schools in California, fighting unions, fighting the California Teachers Union for better public schools for our kids. My husband's second date, I took him to a school board meeting where I was fighting for a charter school for our kids, And I had 500 union members calling me names, throwing things at me, signs in the air, and I stood with my head high because it was the right thing to do. So now I'm here 8 years later with the opportunity to represent Senate District 4, and I represent our constituents,
Right.
not the Democratic Party, and I never have.
Okay, take another question. Nicole,
Mark, can I see the mic?
you have a long one too?
What?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, good morning. Senator Skinner, you're presenting file, item number 1, SB 59. I know you knew that. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and members. Yes, I am presenting SB 59. Everyone who has had a period has a story. A story that's met with feelings of fear.
So this is a recording of your vote. It's 12 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I have the recording of her vote. So if anyone is curious, come and see me about her vote. Also, you're a proponent of school choice or schools, but you didn't vote on AB 1955, and that means you might be in favor of schools, but you're not in favor of parents. Can you care to explain why you didn't vote on AB 1955?
You want the mic back? Yeah.
What bill was in 1955? I voted on a lot of bills.
That was the secrecy bill, where schools can now keep secrets from parents about their child's sexuality and gender identity.
Yeah, I didn't vote to support that bill.
You didn't vote at all.
Yeah, I wasn't on the floor that day. I wasn't on the floor that day, and I'm gonna share this with you because you're constituents and I'm a public official and my life is public. And you can read the headlines everywhere you want. I ran for office because my daughter had my first grandbaby 3 years ago. And out of the 6 kids that my husband has and I have, none of them can afford to live in California. And that's the issues that propelled me to run for office. Not as a lifelong career politician, but as a mom, as a Californian, as a person of faith. And it was that child that was with me on the floor. Now the following year, I did take some time off. I took some time off because my second grandbaby didn't make it past his 28 weeks of life. My third grandchild was born 6 months ago. And that's when I decided I was done. I was done defending Democrats, I was done defending Democrat values, and I was gonna fight even harder, not only for my kids, my grandkids, but all California kids. So we're people, we're humans. And there's gonna be days that I won't hit the floor. But God willing, I will come back stronger and harder. So I appreciate you for asking that question. That's meaningful.
Yeah, here, we have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. I hear you using the Lord's name, and there's a lot of people in this room that are people of faith. And so, so we appreciate that, right? But I also hear you using terminology like reproductive health and, family values or whatever. So I just wanted to hear your explanation on reproductive health, because you will not find anybody in this room that agrees that abortion would be reproductive health.
I don't believe that's what I said. I'm a survivor, as I told you, 2 times cancer, cervical cancer and thyroid cancer.
You said reproductive.
My focus has always been health of the woman, of the aging woman. I mean, if all we want to do is focus on reproductive ages of women, we are eliminating women like me who are perimenopausal and all the issues that we go through. I am not going to sit here and debate and put tax dollars for the fights of the far left liberal. And going back to my friends over here, I have not voted far left liberal. It's very public where I am. I was voted the most dismal Democrat in history. In history. That's a long time, because we're about to celebrate 175 years of California. Now, am I ashamed of that? Absolutely not. I am proud of that.
Okay.
And I can take the hits, and I can take the arrows.
You're not answering my question.
Okay?
I want
I
to know, are
explain
you
what it is.
pro-life? No, are you
Can I
pro-life?
explain what it is?
Say, I am pro-life.
I am aligned
You
with
are
the
not
values of
pro-life.
the Trump
You are not
administration.
pro-life. You are not pro-life.
Okay.
I am aligned with the values of the
Yeah.
Trump administration around when it comes to women's health.
Okay.
Okay. We're not debating here.
No, I'm
hang on.
asking a
No.
question, she won't answer the
No,
question.
it's fine, you said that once, it's all, she doesn't wanna answer it,
Okay,
she
she
doesn't have to.
answer it. But
Then
here's
go
the thing,
ahead,
a lot of
stop,
us
stop,
here are
stop.
elected officials,
I
so
know.
we can
I know, stop.
understand that.
If you don't stop, I'm gonna throw you out.
Oh, okay.
No, but we have to be
Okay.
respectful here, okay?
I am being respectful.
No,
I'm
when
just
when you're
saying
asked
she
us not to
didn't answer
talk,
the question.
and you keep talking, that's not very respectful.
But she doesn't answer the question,
I
that's
know,
not
she,
respectful.
right, she knows,
It's
she,
clear to the whole
Yeah,
body,
it's
she
clear.
will not answer any
Right.
questions.
okay, go ahead, you're next.
Come on, word salad.
I just want to say thank you. As a former Democrat, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you for finally seeing it. I grew up Jewish, then I became a Christian. I was indoctrinated as an immigrant to be a Democrat, then I became a Republican. But I had just one thing that stood out to me was, despite everything that you saw, we have Republicans who we are running against because they're not conservative enough for us. I moved from Southern California here because Southern California was no longer conservative for me as a Republican. So I came to Placer County. How come you didn't endorse President Trump during the election?
That's an
Because I
excellent
would vote
question.
for him even if
Yeah.
I was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mom, I'm an educator. You come from a similar
Yeah,
background.
you're right, yeah. Well, that's the question of the day,
Yeah.
and I've been very public, I did vote for President Trump.
Yeah, but you didn't-
And I was invited by the Trump administration to meet him personally and to attend his inauguration. And it was out of respect, because I wasn't playing a role of saying, okay, I took the red pill, now I'm gonna throw the flags up. That's not authentic and that's not who I am, okay? But we can talk about Tulsi Gabbard, we can talk about RFK, we can talk about President Ronald Reagan, and we can talk about President Trump. And we have all had that moment where we said, enough is enough. And we need to unite to take back our country and to take back our state. So I appreciate the question and you sharing your story as well.
Okay, we have a few more questions, we have Tom.
I just saw a bunch of hands.
Yeah, no, there's lots of hands. Can't be here all night. Okay, Tom, and then David, and I'll have one more, Mark, and then we'll begin.
It's awesome to have you here to answer these questions, so thank you. I did talk to your staff about this, and they're excellent, but they weren't able to answer this, and you alluded to it in your speech a little while ago. So I wanted to ask you, because we welcome converts, and if you're voting with the Republicans on things, we need more people like you, so that's awesome. But what I wanted to find out about is, you said that there were some bills where you were the only Democrat that voted with the Republicans. And I tracked some legislative votes, but I wasn't aware of any of those bills, and when I talked to your staff, they didn't have any, and I understand why, because, there's so many bills, I get that. But can you give us some examples of bills where all the Democrats voted one way and you voted with the Republicans? Because I haven't found those examples yet, and that's really what I
Right.
wanted to hear about.
I'm willing to give you a full account of every single vote that I've given. But to be honest with you, I haven't taken a vote in over 8 months. So I just want to let you know, we haven't been in session for a long time. So we're just starting a new session. All that information is public. If you give me some time, I'll work with my team and we'll put together which of those votes I voted with my Republican colleagues on. I will also say that, there's gonna be some times where I had a bad vote. One of the worst votes that I took was on the minimum wage, the $10 minimum wage. And it was one of those votes that we went to our constituents, we went to our business chambers of commerce, and we said, how is this gonna impact you? What I was able to do on that vote was I was able to delay for 8 years any minimum wage increases in our district. So that was a win for us. But that was a bad vote, because that is putting a lot of our small businesses, it's really straining them, in addition to all the taxes and regulations that are coming down from the state. So if you give me an opportunity to work on that, we can get it back to you.
Hey, Dave?
Well, thank you for being here. Most of the people here know that I focus on education, so I want to put for the body that you've got great credibility on the charter school side. You've been, your history is long and it's deep and it's positive. What are you thinking about education and the role of public education and all the things we're trying to change here that you can in fact be helpful?
Of course. So thank you for that. So I have been stripped of all my committees as part of my retribution for being a Republican. So I've got a lot of time on my hands. As part of my invitation to Washington, D.C., I was able to meet with some of our national organizations and was voted to be the chair of ALEC, the Association of Legislative Exchange Council. This is the group that helped with Project 2025 and American Heritage. I am now the California State Chair. I focus on public safety and I focus on agriculture and natural resources with that group. I was also voted the state chair of a conservative group of women, Women in Government, which is a national organization. I am their state chair and they focus predominantly on health. My focus is on health of aging women. Now, in terms of education, I am bringing the experience that I have in education in a new caucus that was announced yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw KCRA. Ashley Zavala and I are not allowed to talk to each other anymore for bad interview. But the Hispanic caucus, the conservative base, we started our own Hispanic Latino American caucus. And I'm gonna be up and down the state showing the numbers of our failing schools, our failing public education system, and how it has impacted California. Because like it or not, the Latino voter base is looking for a home. They are looking for a home that embraces them and allows them to be part of the movement forward. We have seen numbers of Latino voters leave the Democratic Party because they don't align with the values. They have got to know party preferences and have actually tried to question whether or not we will welcome them. So I'm gonna work on that up and down the state, predominantly the seats that we have that are held by Democrats right now that have predominantly Latino voters, and I'm gonna turn them red. That's my duty and that's my work.
Mark?
So Tulsi Gabbard left the Democratic Party because it did violate her values. She realized her values were not aligned with the Democratic Party. But she suffered politically for several years. And now she had a great victory. She's now the head spy of the country. But this was not opportunistic for her. So how are you seem like an opportunist in that you are obviously a good politician and that you can say whatever you can get 51% of people to vote for you. But it's pretty obviously you made a practical decision that you were not going to get reelected as a Democrat if a competent Republican ran against you. So how are you not simply an opportunist here? Because you've taken no political risk.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with you. There's a great political risk to leave the Democratic Party while elected. That's why no one's done it in 80 years. You know, I didn't ask for the attacks on my marriage, the attacks on my personal character. I didn't ask for those lawsuits and all those false claims. I didn't ask for my office to be vandalized and urinated on and to be removed from committees. I didn't ask for that abuse, right? But I'm standing for what I believe in. And that is what America for me is about, is standing for what you believe in. Now let's talk about opportunity. Because the Democrats did not give me the seat. They didn't give me the endorsement or money to win the seat. I was not the chosen one. That was my opponent. Democrats did not vote for me to serve in Senate District 4 in the general. It was no party preference voters and Republicans, and I have the data to show you. So if in 2022, our voters were able to differentiate between me and a far-left Democrat and make that choice, I would challenge this idea of opportunity because I could have changed a long time ago and had a real easy shot to win. Why go through the abuse? Why go through the legal challenges? Why go through even being here in front of the room and getting as much hostility and animosity? Why? Because born and raised here in California, I have something to say. And if I'm here in front of you, I'm gonna serve that purpose. And public service for me is not about re-election. First time I ran for office, although I've served in several roles. If I don't get re-elected, I will still wake up the following day with my husband, my family, my community. I will still have the most monumental piece of legislation when it comes to public safety. I will feel good about what I did. And every day that I leave Sacramento and drive home, I feel good about what I do. And I re-energize to do it all over again.
Okay. We get one more question. Well,
Hey, Mark,
well,
we have Bill.
I told Jason he could have the last one. Jason,
So, thank you for coming to Placer County. I'm gonna shake it up and ask you a personal question.
Okay.
Who is Jesus to you, and can you share your salvation story?
Amen.
Thanks.
Jesus is my Savior. I was baptized Catholic as a young child. As a young child, I did not have the ability to consent to a baptism, but I thank both my parents and my family for giving me that opportunity. I was in the foster care system when I was 9 or 10 years old, went to go live in Mexico, and my grandmother continued that ministry with me, where I did my first communion, my confirmation, and catechism classes. Coming back to the U.S., I fought with my relationship with Jesus. Once I started having my kids, and he blessed me with saving my child's life that was born in a very distressful birthing situation, I brought my kids to God. And as I grew up as a single parent, we relied on the community, the fellowship of community, to help raise my kids. Now, did I make a lot of mistakes? Absolutely, because I am human. Did I repent for those? Absolutely, because I'm human. So you ask me who Jesus Christ is to me, he is my Savior, he is my God. And every day that I question who I am or what I'm doing, I have conversations in prayer. And that is why I was also voted to be the vice chair of the National Association of Christian Legislators. That just happened 3 months ago. Now, let me tell you, opportunity I heard. If I have traveled our country and told my story and met Republicans, Christian Republicans, conservative Republicans that have been Republicans their whole life, and they have given me their blessing, and they have allowed me with open arms to just get to know me. That's all I can ask for. And today you're going to be asked to take a vote. And I've had these conversations with other clubs. The bylaws allow you to wait up to 1 year to take a vote on an ex officio member. So if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like it's right, do what feels good for your club. I mean, this is about you, and this is about our constituents, this is about our community. So please, don't take me beating her or any, shots, if you will, that it will deter me, because I will continue to represent you with fervent value, and regardless of whether you vote, to give me representation here on your central committee, I will continue to represent you out there. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so do we have a motion? Okay. Well, yes, Mark.
That she doesn't get an ex officio seat.
What we're discussing is that we want to place her as an ex officio according to our bylaws. It's a 50 plus one vote to seat her as an ex officio. And so we can either take the vote, or we can not take any vote. We don't have a motion on the floor to debate. We can't debate a motion. So right now I don't have a motion on the floor to either seat her or not seat her. So I need a motion to one or the other if we're going to have a debate. And that's where I'm at, right, Tom?
Or a delay, right?
So, I
say we don't see her.
you want to make a motion to not seat her?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to not seat her as an ex officio. Is there any discussion? Yes, Tom?
Well, I'm speaking in favor of the motion, but I want to be clear about what I'm saying, that we've seen a lot of movement from Senator Alvarado Gill in our direction. What I haven't personally seen yet, and I have done a little bit of looking, is I'm not familiar with the votes where she's siding with Republicans against the Democrats, but I'm hoping and expecting there's going to be a lot of them. But I don't know if I couldn't tell you now if you asked me to name one out of thousands of votes. If you asked me to name one where she stood against the Democrats and was the only one, I couldn't even tell you one. And so, and I'm hoping that's going to happen in the future. If we were to vote no on seating her today, we're still going to be watching the votes, and we could still seat her next month, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. Under our bylaws, this is just a majority vote item for us at any time. And so we don't have to make a decision to seat the senator today, but we could certainly continue to watch her votes. And I'm hoping and expecting that there's going to be some really good changes, because you guys, everybody in the room knows that we need converts. You know, we have 8 members, I think, wait, is it 8 or 9 senators at the moment, so that are Republican out of 40, you know, we're in a big minority in the Senate. So the way we get to be a majority is we need a lot of converts, and we need to welcome converts, but we wanna make sure that they're actually voting with us. And that's what I'm, and I did do, just so you guys know, I did do a little due diligence on this. I spoke to Valerie Spake, who the senator has hired. She's a longtime conservative Republican staff member and activist who's now working for the senator. And I did ask her the same question, because what I'm looking for is I'm looking for somebody who's voting with us against them. And I haven't found any examples of that yet. I'm hoping there's gonna be a lot of them. So we got a lot of votes coming up in about 6 months, you know, we got the budget, we got a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm hoping that, we're gonna have a lot of examples to talk about and say, see, she's a convert, she's voting with us all the time, but I'm not seeing that today, and that's the reason why today, I'm gonna, vote in favor of the motion not to seat her yet, but I wanna say that, you know, with the commitment that I'm gonna continue to watch, and I'm hoping that things are gonna go our way, and things are gonna be a lot better in a few months, and then we may wanna have another vote. But we wanna wait and see how she's actually voting in the Senate is my point, because that's, when I say somebody's a convert, that means actually voting with us, you know, not against us.
Right.
Right.
Is there anyone who wants to speak against the motion? We have a speaker for the motion, anyone to speak against the motion? Do you want to speak against it?
No, I just wanna add to the discussion.
Well, no, but right now, we're trying to have a debate, I want to get both sides of the debate. So we have one speaker speaking for the motion to not seat her today. And so I'm looking, do we have anyone who wants to speak to seat her today? Is what I want, the other side. Because otherwise, it's just piling on the same side, it doesn't, if there's no one here who wants to speak on the other direction, then we might as well go to a vote and see where we're at.
I had a question before we vote though.
Okay, what's the question?
You ready for my question now?
Yeah, that's called a point of order. Okay.
Point of information, you need to
Point,
vote attorney.
oh, you're right, yeah. We'll get to that in the agenda down here. Yes, what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, if we vote now to not seat her, how long would she have to wait to come and request a seating? Should she feel that she's provided enough evidence, to us that she's voting with us?
Well, it's up to, we can do it, we could vote for her next month. I mean, there's no time frame. We just want, what Tom wanted to say, and I think all people in this room are saying that they want to see the values that we think we want to see in someone.
I understand that.
Voting,
Yeah,
right.
I understand that. What I didn't understand was how long. it
There's no
would
time,
last.
just next meeting if you want.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm just asking, because I
right.
don't know.
There's no time, so
Answer.
there's no,
I'm just gonna make a point of information if I could, because she's asking a question. The way the legislature works, and a lot of you guys know this, but if you're not familiar with the legislative calendar, a lot of the votes of the House of Origin deadline is in early May, and we're gonna have a lot of votes around, you know, late April and May. And then there'll be budget votes in June, and then there's typically a recess in July, and then there's the end of session votes in August. And so in the next few months, there will be lots and lots of votes, and I mean actually well over 1,000. And so we'll have a sense of what's happening here, and then we may wanna bring it up at that time. Somebody could bring it up at any point, but I'm just letting people know that we're in the session right now where there's gonna be thousands of votes. So within the next few months, we're gonna have a very good sense of where we are. And
right. Okay, so yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, so if we see this vote just says at this point, we're not gonna do it, we made an action, and then anytime, this body can reverse any action they take at any time, as long as someone who voted on the winning side of the vote asks for reconsideration of that. Again, we can reconsider anything we do here. So that's something else for people to know. So anyways, that's where we're at right now. Okay, something else? I still don't see anyone voting wants to speak against the motion. So with that, I will call the question and to go to a vote. So I'll say, all in favor of not seating her, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none, that's the vote. Okay, thank you, and thank you for coming and putting up with this. I know it's hard, but it's good. Thank you. But you also, your staff is welcome to come and still sit and listen in on what we're doing, and anyway, so it's not like we're excluding you from coming to the meetings. You still can come, you just won't have a vote. Okay? Okay, thank you. Where am I at?
Point of information,
Yes,
is all members of the staff registered Republican and eligible to be in the room?
I believe, she's a Republican, I know she is. Yeah, Ponce County, and you have 3 people in the room, right?
We're not allowed to ask in the legislature, because they don't work for me, they work for the state.
Oh, okay,
So, you can ask me.
but here
I'm
we.
not allowed to ask.
Well, good, I can ask, okay.
Yeah.
So you're Republican, and you're Republican, right? And then the lady that was back in the back?
Yeah.
Oh, she's back here. Are you Republican?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
In Tyler's state, who's a district representative, is also Republican.
right. I figured,